all you're gonna do is say, you're like, hi guys, welcome to Heavily Censored. Today we're gonna be reading chapter 4 of the Alpha Savior. And instead of Brandon reading and doing an accent, it's Momo edition. Something like that, okay?
Can't you say that and put it before this? Oh no, you're guys staring at me. Do I like read it to you? Like,
no, read the camera.
Like a nice bedtime story? Chapter 4. Haley. The next morning, a nurse arrives just after breakfast and hands me 2 clear plastic bags. They stink. She raises the first one and holds it out for me to take. Your hoodie and runners from the scene of the accident. Ethan dropped them off last night along with your keys and phone, which were still in the pockets. He drove your car back here from the park rather than leave it there overnight. She holds up the other bag. These are the mucky wet shorts and top you came in. You need something dry to wear home, so I brought you something to put on instead. I wrinkle my nose before reluctantly taking the bag. I hope I don't smell as bad as that. Oh god, yuck, I say as I look at the wet, dirty clothes through the plastic. Yep, she responds, obviously keen to get rid of the offending items before she hands me some green scrubs. Thanks for these. Wait, he drove my car here? I was just going to get a taxi home. I stare at her in shock. Perks of living in a small town, honey. I don't think he minded helping the gorgeous young lady who saved the life of his, best friend. It's the least he can do. A beep draws my attention to one bag, the dry one, and I fish my phone out of the bottom, as I thought, I just have one message, and it was from my boss, Greg. That sad fact perfectly sums up the state of my social life since arriving here. There's lying low, and then there's becoming a complete hermit, which is what I seem to have accomplished. Greg heard what happened and wants me to stay home tomorrow, which is fine by me. That news of my hospital stay has reached him in record time doesn't surprise me. I grew up in a small town just like Gray Ridge, and I know everyone has probably been talking about what happened. Living in a place where everyone knows everyone can be good and bad, but the strong sense of community that you just can't get in a big city is what I've missed most. I changed into the scrubs the nurse brought me and throw on my hoodie and runners, keen to get home quickly for a long soak in a warm bubble bath and a decent sleep. I catch a glimpse of myself in the mirror and grimace. My lank hair badly needs a wash, and there are dark circles under my eyes. I tuck my bag of wet running gear under my arm, tempted to just throw them in the bin instead of dealing with the smell in my car, but money is tight. After visiting the nurse's station to sign some forms, I step out through the front doors and laugh to myself as I spot my little red hatchback parked in the first parking spot, as close to the front door as it is possible to get. How on earth did he manage that? I thought I'd be wandering up and down the aisles of cars like an idiot, pressing my key fob until I spotted some flashing lights. Given how exhausted I am, I'm touched by the sweet gesture. Throwing my stuff into the passenger seat, I'm sliding in behind the steering wheel when the front doors of the hospital slide open again. I glance over and I see Ethan strolling out. His head snaps up immediately as though he could sense me there, and his smile disappears the second he sees me, the color draining from his face. "Oh, hey, Haley," he calls out, an odd tone in his voice. He jogs over to me, glancing back over his shoulder twice, a tight smile on his face. It doesn't quite reach his eyes. It looks forced, and his demeanor is anything but relaxed. "You didn't have to do this, Ethan. It was above and beyond," I say, gesturing to my car as we stand talking over the car door. "But I appreciate it. Thanks. No problem at all. We have to look after the new town hero," he jokes and glances over his shoulder again. He's positioned himself close in front of me, blocking my view of the hospital door as I try to peer around him to see what has his attention. He seems jumpy. "Listen, I have to go, but I'll catch up with you later, okay?" He winks before leaning over to give me a quick peck on the cheek and darting away. That's when I see a stunning, tall woman with long, dark hair step outside pushing a man in a wheelchair. Ethan rushes to the woman's side and slips an arm casually around her shoulder, whispering something in her ear. She looks around frantically before locking eyes with me. Her face lights up with a massive grin even as Ethan takes control of both her and the wheelchair and hurries them away. Strange. Cooper. Grumpy doesn't even begin to describe my mood when my sister insists I get pushed out of the hospital in a wheelchair. It's humiliating. As a shifter, I have enhanced healing powers, so I'm perfectly capable of walking. It's only been 24 hours since the accident, and the only injuries I have left are some bruising on my side and chest, and the incision from my surgery. I have general aches and pains where my bones have knit back together, but they should fade over the next few days. The gust of fresh air that blows across my face as she wheels me outside the car park feels wonderful. I hate being cooped up inside for long. Now that I'm outdoors, I feel a bit more positive. I'm alive. I have a mate who I'm going to spend the rest of my days making happy, even if she doesn't know it yet. My Luna. As a human, it's safe to assume knows nothing about Shifter. Ethan was right. If I had to run to her and started talking about mates declaring my undying love and devotion to her, she would have thought I was insane. She will feel a connection with me, but if I scare her out of her wits, it won't matter. I need to be clever and take things slowly. This way, guys. Come on, quick, quick, quick. Ethan says as he reappears beside us at the front of the single-story red brick hospital, looking flushed and slightly guilty. He steers the wheelchair in the opposite direction and pushes me along as fast as he can. He whispers something to Layla, but my head is still pounding and I can't concentrate enough to pick up what it was. Ethan opens the door to the SUV parked at the end of the path and all but tosses me into the passenger seat. You'd make a terrible nurse. Do you know that? I grumble, trying to rearrange myself in the seat to find a position that doesn't hurt my side too much. What's going on, Ethan? I ask, picking up on his slightly raised heartbeat as he slides into the driver's seat beside me. He's nervous, and my wolf is getting restless again. I can tell he's hiding something from me. Aim a glare at him, releasing a little of my alpha power to get him to fess up. Leela hops into the back seat, but before she closes the door, a breeze blows in, and that amazing smell hits my nose again. My mate. Ethan's already driving by the time I spin to face him and take another sniff. It's strong and recent. I would have smelled it sooner if it wasn't for my busted face and nose. Ethan, where is she? Why is her scent all over you again? I grit out, clenching my hands into fists. She's here. That's why we need to go before you do something daft, he says. I just kissed her goodbye, that's all. I'm sorry, but I couldn't resist. She's hot, dude. I must admit, I was kind of hoping she wasn't yours. He winks at me and laughs, moving as far away from me in his seat as possible as I punch him hard in the shoulder. Ethan, what's wrong with you? Do you have a death wish? Leela exclaims, and smacks him on the back of the head before sitting back in her seat laughing at his antics. Stop fucking touching my mate, I snarl. He winces and rubs his arm, but he's still smirking and seems to find great entertainment in my situation. I ignore him and stare out the window, trying to get a glimpse of her. But I can't see anyone. My heart sinks as Ethan tears out of the car park and drives me away from my mate again.